What's up guys, Mike here, and yes, this is a video on Melo, and yes, this video is not very kind to Melo. Now, I really do not love making videos that are basically hating on certain players, and I don't even want to say that I'm hating on Melo here. I mean, a lot of people are gonna think that, but everything I'm saying is based on just pure facts. So if that's hating, whatever, I just felt like I needed to make this video. The reason for that is that when I see Carmelo Anthony, I see a guy who, killed it in life. NBA All-Star, millionaire, owns about 1,000 hoodies, basically is living the dream. However, I also see a player whose potential, in my opinion, has been pretty much wasted in terms of winning. I think Melo could have been a winner. I think he could have been playing in the NBA Finals, and I think the reason he never did is, due a little to some unfortunate circumstances, but mostly his own choices did him in. So with that said, I'm sorry Melo fans, you're not gonna like this video, but let's jump into it. In an alternate reality, Carmelo Anthony did have the chance to be the type of basketball player who everyone loves, a winner. In his senior season of high school, he led Oak Hill Academy to a 32-1 record, which included a win over LeBron James in one of the most hyped up basketball games we've ever seen. From there, Melo went to Syracuse, where he was an All-American who led his team to a national championship while being named the Final Four's most outstanding player, which meant that headed into the league, Melo was seen as the type of player who could not only win you games, he could win you championships. But then came one of the worst draft decisions we have ever seen. The Detroit Pistons took Darko Milicic instead of Carmelo, and suddenly, through no fault of his own, Melo missed out on the chance of playing for a potential dynasty. Because without Carmelo, the Pistons would still win the 2004 NBA championship and then go on to lose the 2005 finals in 7 games before losing in the Eastern Conference Finals in 2006, 7, and 8. Which means, again, in an alternate reality, Melo could have been drafted by the Pistons, and with a young star on their roster, Detroit could have won as many as 3 to 5 championships. That's what Tayshaun Prince thinks. He's said, I think if we did take Melo, maybe 2, maybe 3, maybe 4 championships. So if the Pistons took Carmelo, everything about his career might have been different. Maybe he would have learned a less selfish style of basketball while playing on a team of veterans in Detroit. Maybe he would have learned what it takes to win a championship in the NBA. But as we all know, Detroit did not take Melo, and instead he was given the opportunity to shoot as much as he wanted from day one. This, in my opinion, has led to one of the most overrated NBA careers of all time. Now, I do want to say right now that I am only talking about the NBA version of Melo in this video. I'm not talking about Team USA Melo. I'm not talking about Syracuse Melo. That guy was awesome. That guy was a winner. NBA Melo, that is a completely different story. If you were to just look at Carmelo Anthony's awards without digging too deep, you'd be impressed. I mean, the man is a 10-time All-Star and also a 6-time member of the All-NBA. But even looking at the All-NBA selections, you can already start to see proof that the public has overrated this man. Because in his 15-year career, Melo was only chosen as a second-team All-NBA player twice, meaning that in the eyes of the media, he was only a top 10 player in the NBA for 2 seasons of his career. This, of course, means that he's never been seen as a top 5 player, which already should be a red flag to everyone. Based on the reputation that Carmelo Anthony has gotten from some of his fans, you know, the ones that say that in his prime Melo was one of the top 3 scorers in the league, hands down, you'd think that the man would be racking up more awards and honors, but he hasn't. And the reason for that comes in 2 parts. The 2 biggest reasons as to why Carmelo Anthony is the most overrated player of our generation and possibly the most overrated star in the history of basketball. The first reason is that when you actually look at his advanced stats, you're going to find yourself in shock at just how bad they are. The second reason is that Melo has proven time and time again that he not only cannot step up his game come playoff time, but that he actually gets noticeably worse when the games matter the most. We'll get get to the playoff stats in a second. For now, let's look at Melo's advanced stats. Right now, Carmelo Anthony has career averages of 24.1 points, 6.5 rebounds, and 3 assists per game. If you were to look at just those 3 numbers, you'd think he was among elite company. In the history of the league, only 11 players have averaged at least 24 points, 6 rebounds, and 3 assists per game for their careers, so far so good. But even among those 11 names, Melo is last on that list in points per game and assists per game, and second to last in rebounds per game. So already not as good as you would think, and now we arrive at the advanced stats. The stats that show you the players that are efficient and help their teams win basketball games. And I already can see the comments coming. I know a lot of people are going to argue that because Carmelo Anthony has consistently been the #1 option on his team, that is the reason for his inefficient numbers. And sure, I mean, I guess you can make that excuse. That's really what it is though, an excuse. The real NBA superstars put up great numbers and they're also efficient. That's why their teams win. Now looking at Melo's advanced numbers, you're gonna be able to see why he's never played in the NBA Finals. In his career so far, Melo currently has the 8th highest usage percentage in NBA history. Looking at the rest of the guys on this list, you see legends such as Jordan, Kobe, and LeBron, which is why it's kind of absurd to see Melo's name here, because going further into his advanced stats, let's take a look at where he ranks in terms of true shooting percentage, offensive rating, win shares per 48 minutes, and career plus minus. If you are not sure about what any of those 4 stats are, just pause the video right now. Here's an explanation for all of them. Anyway, advanced stats usually tell the true story of an NBA player, and in Melo's case, the story they tell is that of an overrated star. In terms of true shooting percentage, Melo is not in the top 250 of all time. BasketballReference.com only lists the top 250 players, so to find Melo on a list here and any other stat where he isn't on the top 250, those are coming, we're going to look at just active players. Among active players, Carmelo's true shooting percentage is 72nd. That's behind names such as Jason Terry and Lou Williams, 2 players who have been seen as gunners and streaky shooters throughout their career. Now looking at offensive rating, the thing Melo should be known best for, as he's supposed to be one of the greatest scorers of our generation, Carmelo is again not in the top 250 and just 77th among active players, which puts Melo right behind Eric Gordon and Jeff Teague. No offense to Eric Gordon or Jeff Teague, but they've never been seen as players you can build a franchise around. Looking at win shares per 48 minutes, Melo does crack the top 250 all time. He's sitting at 215th, and his career plus minus of 0.96 also makes the top 250 at 234th. Yes, his plus minus is 0.96, meaning that when he's on the court, his teams have been less than a point better than his opponents. In comparison, LeBron James' career plus minus is 9.18. And again, if you want to see some names that Melo is close to on this list, we've got guys like Matt Barnes and Tyreke Evans. These advanced numbers do not lie. They not only say that Melo is overrated, they say that he should be shooting tremendously less, because this type of inefficiency has been killing his teams. Having a top 10 usage rating of all time combined with mediocre efficiency is not exactly the recipe for winning basketball games. With that said, let's now circle back to the potential argument of Melo has to take that many shots because he's the #1 option, so his inefficiency can be somewhat explained. I am not buying that, because I think the real reason for this glaring inefficiency is that Melo has always put himself and his own stats in front of his team and winning basketball games. We've seen evidence of this countless times. We saw it when he forced a trade to New York in the middle of the season. He could have just played the rest of that season in Denver, signed with the Knicks as a free agent, and allowed the Knicks to keep all of their good players and trading pieces. But no, Melo had to go to New York that season. He had to get his way, and so the Knicks gutted their roster and downgraded from a real playoff contender to just an average team. Then, playing with this downgraded roster, of course, came Linsanity. The time where Jeremy Lin shocked everyone and seemingly turned into a star overnight. You would think Melo would be happy about this because his team was winning and they now had gotten a great point guard on their roster from seemingly nowhere, but no, Carmelo Anthony was not happy. Instead, he was jealous of of the attention Jeremy Lin was getting and basically forced the Knicks not to re-sign him. We know this because Amari Stoudemire has later said everyone wasn't a fan of Lin being the new star, so he didn't stay long. This combined with Mike D'Antoni's quote of, Amari and Melo had their way they had to play, a certain way to be really, really good. So there was this inherent conflict of what's better for the team? Can they coexist? And again, they could coexist if Melo went to the 4, which he really didn't want to do. That really tells you all you need to know. Carmelo did not care that Jeremy Lin was killing it for the Knicks. He didn't care that the team was better with Lin on the roster. No, Carmelo Anthony only wanted to win games if Carmelo Anthony was the star. And because of this selfish attitude, his teams have not won. And like I said before, a huge reason for this is that Melo actually gets worse when it comes playoff time. To prove this, let's look at his numbers per 36 minutes. His points, assists, and field goal percentage all noticeably go down. Looking at his advanced numbers, his usage rate actually goes up to 6th all time, but his PER, true shooting percentage, offensive rating, win shares per 48 minutes, and career plus minus are all worse. This loss of production has had a very real impact on Melo's team, as in his time in the NBA, Carmelo has experienced playoff failure after failure. His teams have advanced past the first round just twice, and every single team he's played on has failed to exceed their expectations. By this, I mean that if Carmelo was on a team seeded 8 through 5, every single Carmelo Anthony team that was a 5 seed or worse has lost in the first round. And his greatest achievement, leading the Nuggets to the Western Conference Finals, was expected because Denver was the 2 seed. So again, Melo's teams have never overachieved in the playoffs, but they have consistently underachieved. In 2006, the 3rd seeded Nuggets lost in the first round. In 2010, the 4th seeded Nuggets lost in the first round. In 2013, the 2nd seeded Knicks lost in the second round, and as we all know, in 2018, the 4th seeded Thunder lost in the first round. So there you have it. Numbers don't lie, and numbers say that efficiency-wise, Carmelo Anthony is a very high-usage, overrated player. Playoff-wise, he gets worse when his teams need him the most. And teammate-wise, well, there is no proof at all that Carmelo Anthony has been a good teammate in his time in the NBA. But there are things like his treatment of Jeremy Lin that certainly don't seem to indicate that the man is a good leader. Which brings us to the final part of this video. Last year, when the Thunder obtained Melo in order to build a big 3. At the time, I was hopeful that Melo would play like he has on Team USA, taking the role as a small ball, team-first power forward who only wants to win. Unfortunately, it seems that whenever he steps foot on an NBA court, he forgets entirely how to play selflessly. Last year, he had his worst season when he averaged 16.2 points, 5.8 rebounds, and 1.3 assists per game on 40% shooting while taking 15 shots a night. And in the playoffs, he once again shrank, averaging a pathetic 11.8 points, 5.7 rebounds, and 0.3 assists while shooting 38% on 12 shots a game. By the time the summer rolled around, the excuses were rolling in. Melo said OKC's system didn't work for him. He needed to go somewhere else where he could play his game. So in my opinion, that is the exact problem here. Melo had a bad season, so of course he has to blame it on the system. Newsflash, Melo, I'm sorry to say, but you are not in your prime anymore. You're at the point in your career where you're supposed to take a step back and maybe, not take 15 shots a game and make around 40% of them. So I guess we're gonna see what happens with the Rockets, but if I'm being honest, I'm not that hopeful. I mean, maybe it'll work. Maybe Chris Paul and James Harden will get through to him, especially Chris Paul, they are boys, so there's definitely a better chance that Melo is going to fit in Houston than he did in OKC. Again, though, the man has never won anything in his NBA career so far, and I really don't think that's gonna change. With all of that said, thank you for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. Again, I know a lot of people are gonna see this as a hate video, but I think I was fair. I think I backed up everything with, proof and evidence and numbers. If you disagree, I'm sorry, but on this channel, we do not do a lot of hate videos, so everything's gonna be okay. We'll be back to talking about what player is gonna break the NBA next. If you are new to this channel, though, make sure to subscribe for videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Now, Now, we haven't been doing that lately, but I now have consequences if I do not post 3 videos a week. See right here, this is a tweet saying that if I do not post 3 times a week, you guys get to choose all my outfits for a month. Really don't want that to happen. It's not gonna happen, so expect a ton of content coming soon. And guys, if you're already subscribed, thank you so much for supporting. You're awesome, we all know it, and as always, have an awesome day, and cue that music.